Good afternoon. Welcome to Risk Neutral Trading. Globex stream. I'm moving off the Globex Open. That hasn't been fruitful at all, and I'm going to continue with this Asia just to see how it looks. If it looks like there's any opportunity. The idea of this is just as part of my homework, actually. So this is my virtual trading journal, and what we do here is all trades are live and real time, and no trades are taken off the stream. And the only trades that I put on, with one or two exceptions usually, are structurally vetted trades, which I have done the homework for myself. Look at this big double top up here. Wow. That I've done the homework for myself, and including the back testing and forward testing, and determined to have a positive expectancy. So that's the premise here. And having said that, the purpose of this stream is my trading journal. It's not for financial or trade advice, and there's a disclaimer in the description. But it wouldn't be much of a trading journal if I didn't record my trades. I think you would agree. So there we are. Let me see if everything else is going all right here. This will run until probably about, 2030 or maybe 2100. Just to see if there's any interesting opportunities that present themselves. It looks like everything's working. I've never changed the scheduling on a stream via the YouTube channel before. Via the YouTube controls before, but seems like it's working, so that's good for us. Get back to my windows here. So this is YouTube. This is a Bookmap. This is my execution software. Make sure that that's on something. Okay, and then we're going to put in a bracket order. In order to trade with YouTube, with Bookmap, you've got to go through this exact drama and set up multi-brackets and multi-trade, and okay, there we go. All right. And so that's set up to trade, and this is IRT, which is my charting package. And it is where I do the forward and back testing and strategy development, like right here, for example. And now any trades that are taken on IRT by the system, like here, for example, or here earlier today, are forward testing on live real data. This is all rhythmic data on powering both of these platforms. And they're done over on IRT. It's in the simulated environment, because obviously I'm not going to be testing something out I don't know about in with my money. That'd be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? Just getting these zones set up here so they'll push across these. The correct trading zones will push across here when we open at 1900, and they will be pushed over to Bookmap, so I can execute based on, I can have them over here to watch. Yeah, this is kind of quiet evening. It will be because I'm doing basically homework and practicing and setting up my data for the data analysis. All the trades here are made, let's see here. All the trades are made, as I said, live, real time, and they're all data driven. So we'll get into all that here in a minute, as soon as I get everything else figured out. It looks like we're doing all right. Great. Great. What's going on? Is there any more craziness going on? The Asia session opens at 1900 Central Standard Time. All the times that I refer to or that you see here on my charts are Central Standard. So we're just getting kind of ready to get going. I've got the stream running. We've got the trade control panel set up. We have book mapping along here. We need to get Blue Boy on the job though, don't we? And of course, I don't know, that would be a loser right there. Getting all the data stuff set up on the other side over here. Well, it seems like everything is working. That's good. And I'm working. That's even better. Oh, they're going to open it down here in the dumps, huh? Right on that Globex low. So my thinking here is the reason for this stream, as I said, is to, in case I have an opportunity or something looks interesting, I will take the trade, and I don't take any trades off of the stream. Therefore, I have to be streaming. That's the whole idea. So this is in effect just a scouting mission this last couple of 4 weeks, just to see what happens. Using a new data tool that I have called Edgeful to do probabilities rather than the laborious method I usually go through, which is all the trouble to build, to build up a system. And I'm no code wizard, so this takes me a long time. I can backtest, forward test, but I'm trying to expedite that because my mission is to be a profitable trader, not a great code developer. I mean, if I'm not, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not my mission. That's not my point, not my focus. Hey, what's up, Heather? Yeah, right to that opening print. Most a couple ticks. That would have flown completely in the face of the data. So this may be a day to beware, huh? IRT. Couple things here you probably want to know and would be good to know, actually. First of all, my basic charting package. And in the header of each of these windows, you'll see the instrument, the periodicity, the chart type, and the session. So you always know where you are. These are the micros, and this is the minis. And this is the micro compositor high time frame chart over here. This is the mini ES, mini NQ, mini ES high time frame. Here's again, it's the MES daily candles and 1 day RTH session. So each one of these represents one full RTH session. And here is, ooh, look at them go. And here is today's RTH just closed. Wow, look at that. Now that is just swinging over 1900, right? That's the beginning of the Asia session. You see my zones start to push across as we hit 9 o'clock or 1900, and these will start fleshing out along with the trade here pretty quick. These values are pushed from IRT from this back testing and forward testing right here, and here's where we are right now. See how I just caught up with price action, and here we go. Now I'm going to put Blue Boy as my nickname for this blue vertical line, which is on the first print of every session. But in these testing sessions, when I want to be, keep an idea on where we are. I go right there. What the hell is that? Why didn't that work? Now I want to put one there. If I can figure out why it didn't work, we'll do it. Try it again. There. So that's the start of this session. And the reason I'm interested in that is which of the levels formed first is important with this full data. So I am going to assume, without looking over at the other charting yet, that the high formed first. And if we, whoa. Oh, come on. Jesus. I'm assuming that the high formed first right here. And there's another tool that I use a lot now, which I never did before, and I'm sort of embarrassed about that. And that's Trading View. Really handy. And I only came to know that because all of these indicators here have been developed and are free to use or come with my subscription to Edgefill. So I have initial balance, sessions, you know, pretty handy. And now we have 7.25 point range so far on this Asia session. And we're going to just start drilling down the data and see if we have any opportunities to present themselves here. I think I didn't have the right window selected. This is the Trading View session. These are the indicators that come with the part and parcel of the sub to subscription to Edgefill. And really handy. I actually ended up putting together a code script that trades, and it's traded yesterday night and today, and took a nice trade today and made good money, and you know, amazing. Maybe I need to do that. Because I took the trade I took today was a stop. That's not good. Okay. Well, look at them go up and down. This is real typical of Asia. Look at these. I'll tell you, this is the thing I really like about Trading View. Look at that, how simple all of this flows around. Here's Globex, here's Asia. Globex, Asia, you know. Can't even get close to doing anything this quick or this responsive at IRT. Or I can't. I'm sure someone can. I shouldn't say it that way. So the low is the first level to form. You see this? Because we have the low formed first. Now we've put in a newer high. So that when we start doing the Edgefill data, the first thing that's going to be we're going to be looking for is the lows. Which level was formed first? And of course, it's 1 hour for the orb because I have them set for the same as the initial balance. That's what I choose. And so that could change 2 or 3 times between now and then. And look at him push. Ooh. Look at him push. Why? Why? And let's get back to somewhere. Where am I now? I don't even know what screen you guys are on. Okay. Let's get back to IRT here. And here we are plotting away, and these levels are being pushed out, and everything's great on that front. And we can see that here we are. There's the orb high and the orb low, and the orb high, and the orb low, and the levels. These levels are just percentages of the range, and they are dynamic, obviously. As the range expands, they open up with it. And so there was, now that we put in this high, The low was the first level formed. So I guess we can start looking at that data. And that's going to come from this app called Edgeful, right there. And this is already, I've already got this set up to the correct session. So I've created most of these ones that say Chicago. I did. It's the opening range. Initial balance is called the same thing. They do have an opening range, but it's got less functionality, less filters than I like this one, and I set it up once and then I don't have to worry about it. So we're looking at the MES and we're looking at 2 years worth of data, and we are in the right session. Now I know I'm going to need to change some of the customization, but let's look at this. This is the basic statistics for the opening range. So this is a 69% probability that we're going to have a single breakout. 4.9 we're going to have a double, and 26% we won't have either one. It will break neither orb high or low. Look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Boom. So we are now trading for Wednesday because this is Tuesday night and this is the ETH session. So here we are. Now the next thing we're going to look at is we've got a 69% probability we're going to single break them today. Rejection. Here's where we get with the which formed first, which formed second. If the opening range high formed first, it did not. The low formed first, it did. We've got an 83% probability. Let me change these customizations down here from earlier today. Sorry about that. Wednesday. No. Okay. So there's a 55% probability we're going to break the high, and 16% will break out the low, based on where we are right now. Only based on really the day and which level formed first. That's the only two real filters we have in it. Well, in the 2 years of data. Now they're really opening this orb up, which is a big deal. So here's the low, here's the high. It's going to be up here pretty quick, and then these will adjust accordingly, the percentages, and depending on how wide we get, well, we're at, say, 46 now, 46 to 36, huh? So it's about 12 handles wide. So we're at about 3 points each in these percentages, which are 25% each. So there's 4 zones of equal percentage. I think out of curiosity, I'm going to put this I was going to put this trading system on. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll do it later. So let's see, we're humming along there. Looks to me like everybody's working, nobody's lagging. That's pretty cool. We're only 12 minutes in this session, so, or in this particular orb, so it's not exactly nothing's a slam dunk here. They could turn around and go the other way just as fast as they did this, go the other way and do the same thing, and then all of a sudden the dynamics will flip around, and you know, there we will be. Well, they're sure squeezing them, though, aren't they? Well, it was a short day. They closed down, so we're going to squeeze them up, I guess. Here's today's RTH session. Close. Squeezing back up here too. Now remember that we're looking at Asia now, right? This is the entire ETH. So what we've done is just a chop fest so far. But we're looking at it from a point of view of just Asia, so it looks a little different over here. Here's where I was looking on IRT from here to here, and what does it look like? Up and down and back up again. That's about right. And this little gypsy doodle over here. Excuse me. Not the company, it's the hours, I guess. I have no trades that are, you know, anything to do with this. Now they may try to get a squeeze on this big short of the day over here because they're rambunctious little children. Still nothing. Really light. Let's look at something. I'll bet you it's really light volume. Oh, no, not so bad. Yesterday was 40%. Look at there. Right, just almost on the highs of the orb, the Globex. And all of this price action is just fun to watch, but there's nothing here to trade. There's no data that I have that, and what would you do? How would you, the way I approach trading is as a statistical business, consistently profitable business based on probabilities and statistics. So the way I approach it, and it's what I've understood the best traders in the world do. From their own writings, Dick Simmons and those guys. They identify something that happens frequently, and then rules that would support an entry for that, like the initial balance. Or in this case, we're looking at an orb breakout based on specific data. When it breaks out, it retraces to here, and then it's just, the probability of retrace to here is so much, the probability to retrace to here is so much, and then we have a trade or not. And on my own stuff over here, I've been able to back test and forward test. Have the data to support win rate, loss rate, expectancy, R factor, consecutive stops, MFE, MAE, all that. And that's all. I back test and run these back tests, and then there's several extensive reports, and then I'm able to take that to the next level, which is here. Every one of these lines is a back test. 480 days, 1,048 trades. Each one of these lines is a back test. Win rate, loss rate, average winners, average losers, scratch, loss, expectancy, R factor, risk reward, profit factor, on and on. And that's the way I believe you come up with data to really vet a trade or not. Otherwise, you're just kidding yourself and everybody, I think. Well, that's how I try to approach trading. And that's what I'm doing right now. And we're using these. What I'm trying to do here with Edgeful is to, as I said, expedite the process. This takes me a long time. It doesn't take any time to do the backtesting once the code is written. It takes maybe 3 seconds to backtest 500 days. The computer, when it's forward testing like today, the computer evaluates each one of these rules every 30 seconds. And if there's a trade, then it would put it on. In this case, it pushes it to this chart over here so I can visually determine what, understand what's happening. Is it where I thought it should happen and stuff like that? But it takes me forever to do this part. So I'm trying to lean on the Edgeful data analysis, and we have not even traded 30 minutes yet. So, we got nowhere to go. But at this moment, we still have the orb low forming first. We know that we've got this probability that we'll have a single break up. We had a 68 or something, wasn't it, percent probability that we would have a single break, and a 34% that it would not break either one, if I remember right. Right here. I'm sorry, 26% that wouldn't break out, 4% that it would double break, and 68% it would single break. So there I was wrong. Sorry about that. And the next step of this system is that when we get to the closing zone, data, which can be quite meaningful, have quite an impact. We'll enter that over here, and then we can wait for the breakout and go to the next step, which is, sorry, I'm on the wrong freaking window, which is what I was doing here while I was busy on the wrong spot, was to there's our probability of a single break, 69%, and no break is 26%. A double break is not 4. So the next step is the rejection, where we just, depending on which one of the lows was formed first or second. In this case, it's the low, so we would expect that if we do that single break, it will be the high. Then the next step is the closing zone, and that can affect this quite a bit. And then after the high has been broken, we have the retracement. So assuming that the high was broken, as the data suggested it will, that's a 48% probability that will retrace to the 25% zone, and 19 that will retrace to the 50. What that means is, assuming this was the IB, we've broken the high, there's a 47% probability we'll retrace to this 25. There's only 19% will pull it back to the 50. That's how the data works, as I get it. So that's where we are. Now we're waiting for the rest of the hour to form and get that closing zone, and there we are. That's trading by data. And if you don't get a trigger and it doesn't come back, guess what? Boop, you don't trade it. There's no trade. And it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for coming out. And away we go. And we all waddle off to bed, That's how it works. So welcome to the stream. Again, it's my virtual trading journal. The theory is that everything that you're seeing here on these 2 main monitors is captured in the video, and my voiceover provides insight as to what I was thinking at the moment. So that completes the recording, completes the journal. It is fully transparent and 100% accountable. And any trades are recorded for all posterity. The trade I took today is still in the recording back there into the in the last session, and then I also record them, and it's in the stream from earlier today, and it's every place. The way they are recorded on Bookmap is right there. Here's the trade is right there, and it was a stop. There was a short because we broke out. We retraced to the 25, and I went short, stopped out. And here's the complete record. And this is a snap that I mean, this is displayed in the stream, obviously, but this is a snap I put in a journal, a hard journal. My wife and daughter are Vietnamese, if you can hear that. And I'm so glad that my wife talks with her and talks to Tam in Vietnamese, because it's horrible to lose languages, Tam speaks English, you can't even tell, but so important. In my opinion. Well, look at them go. Aren't they just having more fun squeezing the bejesus out of these guys? They're making a big... Now we're getting up here to this real pronounced low volume zone right here from today, where the swing high was. We're just approaching that again. Interesting to see what they do over there. We'll be able to see it over here on this RTH. And this RTH level right up here where the mid was and everything. Right up in here. I think I might as well put that code on the just to see how it works. It worked great today. Took a trade and went to both targets. I didn't catch the trade. I had some issues. I had to take our daughter out to somewhere and then later go pick her up, which happens frequently now. And I missed the trade. It was really a drag. But let's see. I think I have to get. Let's see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I can put it on here now. Hold your fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so here is the here's the whatever you call that thing down there. And there's the trade right there in Asia. It was last night. There's the entry, and there are the two targets. And so I'm going to reconfigure that for now again. Let's see here. Here we go. So we've got 19 to 4, 19 to 12. It's all still set for today. I did never change it. Well, aren't I a good little boy? Look at me go. Boomer. I thought I'd change this to the RTH session. Now that's cool. Great. And here are the percentages, you know, and the stops and the targets, and there you go. And then in the colors and all that stuff you set up over here and there, and yeah. And then it plots all that down here. You can go like this. And the code is this. And it works very well, as you can see. Works pretty cool. It took me, I did this weekend with the help of Google, I guess it's called. So this is, yeah, I was quite impressed with how well I mean, it took me a couple hours, maybe got it together, and there you go. You know, this was Asia last night, right after I had gone to eat and whatever else. There was the entry, and here's the two stops, and there's the, you know, target, and you can't really see because of the zones here, but there's a stop and there's an entry. Red is a stop and entry is yellow. And if it sees a trade over here, it'll do the same thing. Now, obviously, nothing's going to happen because the orb has not formed yet. That has to happen. So this is never going to, and I don't ever front run. I'm not saying that that's not something you could do, but it's purely discretionary, right? It wouldn't have anything to do with data. Oh man, what happened here? Why didn't that work? That's a bummer. Damn it. Why didn't that work? It sucks. I gotta figure all this out. Well, I'll be able to do it later. I suppose that's about an hour. Wait a second, what time is it? 30 minutes, so that's probably 15 minutes ago. And it's 20. And then we're gonna do the I don't know. I keep forgetting to do the chapter stamp, so I don't know this evening one. I guess my brain is on until lunch or something. I don't know. Anyway, you get the point. So these are and this little thing down here is pretty cute. I don't know what all it tells you. All this, you know, take your pick. There's a lot of stuff going on down there. So this is all part. Like I said, I was not familiar with TradingView at all, and I'm embarrassed to say that because it is about the handiest thing I've bumped into in a long time for what we do. I don't know, how accurate or to trade with it or anything to replace. For example, I couldn't use it to replace my IRT, I don't believe, because this is where I, have my micro composite and I push these levels to Bookmap and I have this forward testing set up and I'm pushing these zones across the Bookmap so I can trade off of them and I can do back testing of these trading systems and they also trade during the day. So I don't think I could do any of that with TradingView, but who knows? Maybe I can. Maybe I could. I don't know. I don't think so. But I can tell you from a point of view of just, spinning around on this thing and let's just look at this. Let's see just where are we here now? Okay, there's our orb high. How does that fit with? Well, it's exactly where our orb low was last time. You know what I mean? That crazy stuff like that people like to look at levels and stuff. Look at where the support and resistance was and where we're trading at. It's fun. So much more responsive and user friendly than my other stuff. And Bookmap is pretty good, but it won't do all that kind of thing. So yeah, they are. Boop. So we're just in the hole now. We've gone 30 minutes. So now we're going to start thinking about what'll happen when we get to the top of the hour. That will be the hour. That will be when the orb is set. We'll be able to define, factor in the opening range or the ending zone numbers and see what the hell happened. Trade them. Duke Nukem. Better put on the musicking. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, so my main focus, of course, is the RTH session where I do that 7-hour stream every morning at 0800 Central Standard Time until 1500. And this is because if I have an opportunity present itself in this Globex period, I want to be able to take the trade. And I have a firm commitment not to take any trades off the stream. So that's the logic. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, baby. And tonight I whacked off the Globex portion starting at 1700 because it hasn't been very fruitful or interesting and just drags on. And, I'm tired enough after 7 hours of standing here, and it's actually about 9 because I start early or, go late. So you put in 12 or 14 hours doing this, standing, and these are stand-up desks, so, and I'm old, so there you go. Adds up to tired. that all adds up to tired. Tired old guy. All right. I think they're going to continue to try this squeeze maneuver down here. They're dying to take it higher, but I think the reality of the pop goes the bubble and, people being laid off. Microsoft's going to lay off 4,800 people and somebody else is going to lay off, 5,000 or 6,000 or whatever else is. And then somebody has the audacity to say that the economy's good, the jobs market is good. For who? people in the administration, I guess, but maybe not anybody else. Okay. And if you're new to the stream, thanks for stopping by. Drop something in the chat, or these evenings are pretty quiet. And it's not, this channel generally is not, it's not action packed. It's not an adrenaline rush. It's not clicking and whipping and spurring. It's real trading, data driven trading. If there's no trigger, there's no trade. I don't overtrade. I don't click the mouse like crazy. I'm an adult. And this is my trading business. And it's the stream and this business is not my way or the highway. This is what I'm doing now. So any suggestions, leave them. To be honest with you, I don't ever look at the chat stuff after the streams, but we have a lot of conversation during the day in the live chat here. I guess I probably ought to do that. Maybe a whole bunch of stuff going on. I don't know. Well, they keep pushing that higher, don't they? We've got about 20 minutes to go. And what do we have above us here? Let's just have a look at that. We've got some liquidity up here at the 75 handle, and then they just can't get enough of 76. They keep coming back to that like their butts are on fire. But you see, it was a pretty big sell-off today, and they never got back to it. At one point, we were way down here, of course, and then again, this is my higher time frame. Here's a pretty funny thing if you want to. These are naked volume points of control. Pretty funny, huh? But that's true. And this is naked volume points of control, on the daily time frame, obviously, because that's the only way they can. That's by definition what they are. Reminds me, I can put this one in over here. I'm sure the micro composite VPOC is the same. It's been that way for about 2 weeks now, I think. Seems like. What do we got? 70707026. Well, look at there. 707. Naked volume point of control. There we are. Yeah, 1440 hasn't moved. It's been that way since 23rd of June. Way down below us. Not even close. Not even in our galaxy anymore. Boy, they are just continuing to push, aren't they? So now, if anybody that has got some sort of data that says get along right down here, wouldn't that have been lovely? wouldn't, that'd be lovely. And you can do different opening range breakouts for different time zones. There's a fella that comes in and out of the stream. Well, there's somebody over here. What do we got here? Oh, hey, how you doing there, glass guy? How's Wales doing? How'd you guys do in the World Cup, actually? I didn't watch that. The Kospi Index, okay. Nice to see you again. Hope everything's going good on your end there, buddy. They keep just jamming this thing to the top. They've got a squeeze going on over here. Here was yesterday's RTH session, or today's RTH session. They closed short, so I guess they're trying to keep the squeeze happening. I don't know. How you doing? Okay. Yeah, me too. On the football story. And I don't have any idea who's winning or who's losing, and it's been a big cluster over here, and, you know, what's his name can't keep his nose out of anything, and he's, you know, yeah, it's been typical. So I ended up writing some code. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the copes. I don't know what it is. No, I don't. In other words, I watch what you see going on right here. Basically, volume, statistics, and price. And then these are just the same idea. There's no indicators anywhere here except for VWAP. POC. It's all price driven, price and volume. I did end up doing something over this weekend that you might be interested in, though. Speaking of trading view, here's the trading view, which I think you probably remember from the other day. These are the indicators, which are, these are indicators that are written by Edgeful, the session and the initial balance with the percentage, the zones in here. And I've gotten the zones now written to where I push them from IRT over here to Bookmap. But what I've done is I ended up cooking up an indicator, a trading bot, or a trader, you know, a Pine script thing, and this is what it's done so far. And here are the trades it took last night. There's the entry and there's the exits. And yeah, it's been kind of interesting to do. I've never done that. It was kind of interesting. It's this thing here. You can set, I'm sure you know how to do this stuff, but you can set up, I can set up the zones and the session and the opening range or the orb. And then how I want the filters and points or ticks and how I want to do the ranges and then the colors and crap. And it is what it did last night. So let's see. I've got it. It's still running. So we'll see what it does. The code is pretty easy to understand. Hey, Magic Man, I was just talking about you a minute ago with your fantastic orb. I hope you got look at this squeeze they have going on in Asia. I hope you had some fun. Look at my little code thing that I drew up. I've left on. It took absolutely by the numbers short last night in Asia, so I'm seeing it's still going. We'll see what happens over here. As you may or may not have figured out, I've chopped off the well, my cowboy, I am a cowboy. Actually, I'm an old one. I grew up on a cattle and horse ranch in Montana. That's the truth. I'm actually, when I say that joke about not knowing how to code about being an old cowboy from Montana, that's actually true. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. I didn't stream this orb thing, and of course, or the Globex thing, because it just wasn't showing me any. Tired, and by the time I got to Asia, I was like getting tired and bored and whatever else. The thing about this one is, I was thinking of you. I can change the opening range to whatever I want, right? So if we want to do it for your little box thing and stuff, it's no problem. But that's just was interesting to do this weekend. It's amazing what you can get out of these things nowadays with Google or whatever else. That script and stuff is pretty amazing and logical. So you can I wanted to add the color. Wasn't plotting the prices for the targets and stuff, and it was easily I was able to easily add that myself without having to Google around about it. So. Well, we've got about 10 minutes to go, and then we'll see what happens here when the orb sets. As we stand now, the closing range is going to be in the 0 to 25%, so that won't make much difference. But Asia does usually tricky stuff. I've noticed that sometimes they'll flip them. So we'll see what happens. Look at what happened here on day before yesterday. On Monday. Bam. Tuesday. Wednesday. Ooh. So we'll see. Had a trade signal today and took it and got stopped, so that wasn't a lot of fun, but it happened. The cost of doing business. We'll see if we get a trade signal tonight, and then tomorrow should be okay. I had some goofiness to do with well, how far out does what really predict? You mean the edgefill stuff? Where am I? This stuff here? You can go, this is 2 years. You can go out to 5 years and get the stats. Stats just tell you the probability of of how many times. Obviously, you understand probabilities, right? So I don't mean to be I'm not trying to talk down to you, but it's just a percentage, right? It's a probability, like the stats that I put in the stream every morning from IRT, and they work surprisingly. They are surprisingly accurate. If it says there's the overnight volume point of control is going to be revisited 80% of the time when we open higher in range, it is, and if we open higher in range, boop, usually gets visited sometime in that day. That's the way it works. Well, if you want to make a trade, these don't work like that. The way this filter works is for the here and now. Opening range for today. This is looking historically at the performance of the opening range. So if there's an opening range, if the opening range low formed first, which it did right now, right here, this opening range for this session opened right here. That's the lowest first. Then it's trading up here. So we've looked at the probability of breaking the high. which would be the single break first, and that is this one right here. So there's a 68% probability that we'll break one level or the other on Wednesday, looking back 2 years on the MES in this session. That's all the probability is. And remember this most important word: past performance is not indicative of future results. That is actually a statistical statement. And most people think it's from lawyers, but it's really statistics. And it's the truth. Just like trading. The outcome of the next trade is 50-50. Case closed, absolutely, no question about it. It's a 50-50 coin flip. It can either go up or down. Doesn't matter what the hell happened before. You know, that's why trying to predict where the market's going, I don't think is a very long-term good idea. And so I'm trying to work with the, statistics and probabilities. I mean, Simmons and Renaissance Technology and all of the people that have made their, the biggest, most successful traders in the world all realize that. And here's the next one that will also hit home. If it is the exact business model of a casino or the gaming industry from the point of view of the house. A casino plays no game on the casino floor which they have not pre-identified a statistic, the probability or the edge, and specific rules. Then they put it on the casino floor, and their only mission in life is to play that game as many times as they can in 24 hours because they know they're leaning on the law of large numbers. That's it. Case closed. And that's exactly what a lot of very successful traders do, and what I'm trying to follow along. Now, there's no epiphany that I had where I dreamed, realized all this stuff from a burning bush or something. I mean, this is just, you can read any book you want to read. Mark Douglas or Simmons or anybody, or any of those guys. It's probabilities, and it's the casino, it's the gaming industry business model. Probably the oldest, most successful model in history. Next, I suppose, prostitution. That's probably, but as far as like legitimate kind of business, it's the oldest and the most successful, and that's all it is. It's the law of large numbers. They determine that a strategy has a percent edge, whatever that edge is, whatever that percentage is, and it's usually very small. And then they lean on the law of large numbers, which means the most number of occurrences. But you can't move the rules. The rules are always the same. Everything has to stay exactly the same as it was, rule-wise, when you did the math, when you did the back test. That's why I do all this nonsense over here with this. After I back tested and forward tested and sideways tested and all that other nonsense, every one of these is a back test. Every one of them. Every one of these. There's 599 days, 442 trades, winners, losers, average winner, loser, average loser, scratch, win rate, loss rate, expectancy. That's the big number right there that you want to learn, that you really want to focus on, and then the profit factor, risk reward. R factor, that's how you determine an edge, and that's what the house leans on. And here's a real shocking fact for you. As we all know, where am I? What am I doing? As we all know, casinos. I mean, I don't think anybody will ever argue that casinos are not fantastically successful and make a lot of money. You know that a casino like roulette or 21, their edge is about 2%. That's it. So if somebody bets $100, every $100 bet, they expect to make $2. That's their edge. That's on roulette with a single zero. America, they added the double zero, so they increased the edge. But roulette with a single zero, their edge is about $2.50, roughly. And they make millions because they spin that wheel 24/7, baby, as many times as they can spin it. That's how it works. Okay, we're in there. We just crossed the Great Divide, and the orb has been set right there. So that's not going to get any higher. Let's see if it's going to be, yeah, there we just moved up. So that's the orb set right there. So now if we're going to break out, and we're in the 25 zone, no question about it. So let me get back over here quickly to this one. Boom. 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 Now, the orb low was formed first. There's a 62% probability we're going to break the high. That makes sense to me. And only 2% we're going to do that. If and when we break out the high, then, where did I go? I don't want to do that. Then we break out the high. We've got the retracements to look at. If we break the orb high, there's a 48% probability we're going to retrace to the 25. And a 19% or 20% will retrace to the 50 over here. If it breaks the high, there's a 48% probability we'll retrace to this level right here, which would be real understandable because it's, well, that's the RTH VWAP, but you know, and then another only 20% we get down here to the 50. And nobody says we got to do that at all. Could just keep ripping. Yeah, Magic, I think I was looking at your thing every time I think about this. I think about one of the things I'm going to do once assuming that I don't continue this, because this is the time period where I always used to do my homework, right? Besides weekend. And now that I'm streaming, I can't do that. So, but I'm going to alter the orb down to around the area where you work your box, and then see what kind of things stats it does, etc. Because I can do that over here, and I can do that over here. Now that I have this push and everything, and with my new little tool, I can also do that with my new groovy little thing up here that I got going on. My groovy little code dealy whapper here. I spend a lot of time at it, yeah. I would probably hate to know how much time I've spent, to be honest with you. That would probably be real depressing. It's kind of like when you look at compound interest or something, you know, if you'd have put $1,000 in the bank when you were, well, I don't know how old you guys are, but if I had to say when I was 25 or something like that, and then just forgot about it, you'd be worth millions, you know. Same thing. That's the law of large numbers again, and compounding. Same idea. Same idea. I'll tell you one. This is a true story. If you want to know how stupid I really am, I suppose you've heard of Warren Buffett, and I suppose you've heard of Berkshire Hathaway. Once upon a time, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was doing okay. This was in Wyoming, and I was young, and I was building houses and stuff then. And somebody said, you know, you should buy this Berkshire Hathaway stock. And I said, how much is it? He says, $1,000 a share. I said, what are you out of your freaking mind? Who's going to spend $1,000 a share for some shit like that? Last time I looked, it's around $500,000 a share now. So there you go. I was also, that was also right the time when Microsoft was getting started. and Amazon and Apple. And I could have invested in all of them for peanuts. And at that time, I had a little money. So, you know, had I done any of that, well, we wouldn't be having this conversation because I'd be on Easy Street someplace, you know? But that's just life. What can I tell you? And if you spend a lot of time looking back at it, but if you're young, definitely think about that. Think about long-term stuff, not just this day trading shit. A portfolio. I'm sure Magic, you've got something going. You know, Rod and those guys, I'm sure, I know they do. Harry and everybody. And I know Anton does during the day. He trades options and has a portfolio and a bunch of things. And that's the way to really, you know, really do it, I think. Yeah, every time I think back about those days, and at that time I thought I was interested in stocks and the stock market, you know, and I was just interested in chasing girls and getting goofy, I guess, because here I stand. Here I stand. Well, we haven't broken out yet, I don't think. I gotta look at, I didn't put a line over there, but let's look at our buddy over here in TradingView. And yes, we did. We broke the high already. So now we've broken out. Now we'll be looking for a retest. And there's a couple different ways to play this retest story too, by the way, that I have been kicking around a lot. The probability of these retests, for example, we broke the high first, so there's a 50% probability. Remember, 50% is 50-50. That means 50-50 go the other way too. But from a point of view of mean reversion, right? So if it breaks out and doesn't look like it's got a lot of legs and you're in a rotational environment or a balanced market, like in this, more applicable in the, I think in the RTH session, you got a 50% probability to pull back to here. What is that? Well, that's 9 ticks. No, points, I'm sorry. So I have to get my head around keeping my mind open about not just always thinking about the pullback and then directional on the breakout, but to think about it from the mean reversion. Because I think, I don't remember the statistics, but there's a large percentage of the trading days are balanced rather than directional. And I'm sort of worried about this Globex thing because this will be the trigger when it gets to 25 for a long. But these guys tend to flip this thing around when it gets into Asia like this. We'll see what happens. I'll take the trade, but I'll be forever pissed if it doesn't go my way. I've already taken one stop today and I don't like it very well. I'm not a stop guy. I never move them, but you know. What was that thing you were talking about? Have you ever heard of the Kospi? Whatever that indicator is, Magic, are you still around here somewhere? I have never heard of it. But then I don't do indicators much, so I guess that's understandable. I'm going to mute because I think my wife just fired up the vacuum cleaner out in the kitchen somewhere. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Let me get my headset on. I don't hear it, but I'm pretty deaf. I'll mute this anyway just to be nice. Right. I thought it was a different. I thought it was an. I didn't know it was the index. Okay. No, I don't. I don't trade any. I don't look at Nikkei. I don't look at the DAX. I don't look at the FTSE. But maybe I should. The thing I would have to do is be, look at the margins and all that kind of stuff on my AMP account, and then if it were one of these Val deals like now with whoever these guys are, Lucid, I don't know if they offer any of that. But yeah, wherever market you are, I mean, like Tom the trader, that guy, he only trades what he calls the NASDAQ and the Dow, but it's a CFD. It's the US 100 or the Tech 100 or something like that. It's all stuff over there, and he spends a lot of time trading the FTSE and the I forgot the English one. And the DAX and the FTSE and the DAX. I'm sorry. Okay. Cool. But you trade futures, right? Or the Ds, whatever they are, CFDs for them, if I remember our conversation, right? Okay. Oh, good for you. That's great. I admire people that you guys that are invest and know what's going on. I'm a donut about a lot of that. I don't feel at all bad about not streaming that Globex part and just picking up now. It's going to make this a lot less painful to, got about another hour here, and then I'm easily wrap it up. That'll be great. No trigger here yet, so there we go. Be about 1 in the morning for you again, eh, last guy? You're a strong boy. Well, they're not looking back. And I'm not gonna, it's not in my wheelhouse to be trying to interpolate, well, let's see, it's a 40% probability to pull back to the 25. So how do I wait to pull back, to not quite the 25% or something like that? I try to do that a little when it's a difference between 40, say 25, say 40. So let's say 50% and 10%. Then I would try to give it some leeway to get into the middle a little bit to improve the entry, but I wouldn't. I don't think it would be very. I'm sure there's a way to quantify it, but And now here's something I didn't think about. I'll bet you can add more zones. They start out with just those 4. Let's look at that. Maybe you can add a pile of zones in there and quantify it by yourself. Just let the computer do it. I know I can do that with that code thing I did, but so what? Let's see about this thing here. I don't know whether we can add more zones or not. No, you can't add more. You can just change the percentage of them. I could add more on that thing I did in pretty easy in book, whatever you call that, trading view, but can't add more zones over here. Oh, well, good. Good for you. Whatever works. Whatever works. That's good for you. Let's see if I can think of this here. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can spot this pretty quick. And maybe that would be pretty easy to add in there. Hold on. Nobody move. Yeah, that's right. This doesn't really work. This I can set the zones wherever I want, but I've only got based on take profits. Okay, never mind. That would require thinking. That would require some more thinking. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, now what are we doing? We're up to the 50 in the globe and the IB for the RTH session. I don't know what this land. Oh, this is something. I don't know what. I'm not sure what this is doing. I think it's a mistake is what that is. Oh no, it's extending the high and low on this thing. I got to shut this off at the end of the session for this trading thing. That's what I got to do there. Yeah, exactly. I got to have that shut off at the end of the session. Oh, that's why. I've got it to 4 o'clock. It's going to push out to 4 o'clock in the morning. That's exactly right. No, that's not right because it didn't work. It didn't quit. Well, I'll have to figure that out too. Oh well, not a big deal, but what it did was it went right to the new session again, which is, I wanted to stop it over here. Or when it's flat, maybe even. Oh well. Were we pulling back? Are we doing anything? I don't know. I don't think so. That's the one problem with Asia is it lasts forever. You know, it goes till 4 in the morning. So I'm sure as hell not going to stay up and babysit them till 4 in the morning. This was 10:30 and I wasn't here obviously, but that's the problem with this session. Because I'm not like Glass Guy over there who's, you know, doing all this fun at 1 o'clock in the morning. I know exactly where you're coming from, though. When we lived in Kuala Lumpur for a long time, and the market opened at 9:30 at night, my time, 21:30, and so I would trade, you know, and that usually would get around midnight or something. Well, these dorks aren't going to go down and do something. And what they're starting to do now is make me think they're going to reverse it with it, you know, whatever this thing is. It's price action. They came all the way across today's action from literally the bottom where they opened them all the way up here to the bottom of this. Just below the POC. I would not be at all surprised with this Asia bunch if they didn't flip it and go the other way now. Now I'm going to have to make a pretty big decision here. It kind of looks like their uphill steam ran out of gas. Not sure that I would be real gung-ho about throwing on a long here. I hear a bunch of thunder. I got to get outside and get some stuff done, dude. If it's going to cut loose rain, and that'd be great. Well, I'm thinking that might be what they're getting ready to do here. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant to take it long, even if that's what the data signals to do, because this Asia session, they'll do this a lot. I've noticed they run it one way and then just get everybody on their back foot, and get a load on, and then go the other direction. I don't know what to think, actually. I look over here, and this little white nub is where we're trading now, so we're right around the close, which is pretty obvious. You can see the close from today. And we ended up, on a selling day, so And here's the close. And I may not have to worry about anything. It may not come down there and hit that level at all, but kind of suspicious there. These are the kind of things that always right to yesterday's Asia low, almost to the tip. Now, what does that mean? I have no freaking idea, but you know, it's interesting. It must mean something to somebody, I guess. And the Asia high from 3 days ago, and you know, amazing how they're just kind of staying in that range. This is 4th of July, so forget about that. So they say, yeah. Markets go down to go up and go up to go down. And that's because it's at least in the futures market. Oh, here we are. Now we have tagged out the 25% line, and I just don't feel right about putting a trade on there. The system should, and it just did. You see that? It just bought two right there. Wow, look at there. Isn't that cute? The system just bought two right on the money. I just don't feel comfortable doing that because I think it's going to go down. And why, I don't know. That's the problem. Now, this is right now is a problem that I shouldn't be doing. I should be, if this were a vetted setup that I had statistics on and expectancy, I should take every one of those occurrences that present themselves in the live market. I'm going to have to, it's getting dark, it's going to pour rain, I think. I'm going to have to. Garbage and stuff outside and down to the street. I probably should have gone long. The system did, so we'll see what happens. That's kind of disappointing there. What to do? I think I'm going to take a quick I'm going to take a quick step aside and get this chores done outside before this thunderstorm hits. Yeah, exactly. I better get it. I got to roll them down to the street. Roll it down to the street and make sure that everything else is done outside. I should put a trade on here, but I'm just not. I'll be the first to say I'm not comfortable with this price action. And that, you know, famous last words, right? I'll be right back. I'm going to do Mom. Hear all this. I'll do this in the morning, maybe. Yeah, there we go. So what are we going to do here? Get my gloves and glasses on. Remember, the close and settlement is right down here too. Just down here below us. In my opinion, it's going to go down. Not a prediction, just a feeling. No, there's settlement. Oh, look at the little V reversal here. Well, there we go. So I guess I'm not too glad I didn't get long at 51. I'm gonna get this chores done. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Well, I still don't think it's going to go up, so I'm going to stay on my. I'm going to stay flat. And it's 15 minutes till the stream's down anyway. So. Well, that was a rainy experience. Oh, look at us go. Well, I shouldn't ever think twice. I'm all wet. It rains around here, it gets with it. Well, well, well. Son of a gun. This would have been a stop, however. If I'd have taken the trade at the signal, it would have been a stop, I think. $24. 24 ticks. It would have just been close. Yes, I am. Huh? Yeah, well, your mom said you wanted to wait till you were playing a game or something. You want to do that now or what? Huh? Take a break to eat. Let me wind the stream up and I'll be with you. Well, that's pretty disappointing that I missed that one, I tell you. I mean, but I'm not sorry about it. That's the problem with making okay, well, good for you. Cool. I'm going to let the stream play out here for the next 10 minutes. We're going to go have dinner. And I'm all wet and rainy, so I'll look around for a dry t-shirt, I guess. I don't know what's going to happen here. I had a bad feeling about along here, and I'd have been sweating bullets right here. Or stopped out. Now, of course, in hindsight, oh yes, of course I knew to take this right down here before it got to the VPOC and, or the VWAP and all that stuff. No, I didn't know any of that shit. And that's has nothing to do with the data, except if I wanted to extrapolate between the two, right? So that would be here. So there's a 68% probability that there's a 47% probability we're going to reach 25, and there's 20% we're going to get to the 50. So what do you do? Do you, 20% is half of 45, you know what I mean? Would this have been a logical spot between the 50 and between the 25 and the 50? I mean, it's beautiful here, isn't it? So clear, but you know what I'm getting at. That's something that I'm not real. I hope I was showing the right. Yeah, I was. Okay, good. Screens. And here we are back at the 25 again. So do I just put one on and go have dinner and see what happens? Or do I think that they're going to take it up, take it down? Are we starting to do the sell the rips as opposed to buy the dips, It kind of ran out of gas right up here, and that's a little bit vicious. Actually, this would have been a much better mean reversion trade. I think I spoke about that earlier. And would have been a better instance for a mean reversion. Outside in other words, just put a short on up here and it would also be asymmetrical. And at one point it would have been, what is that? 62 to, well, it would have been 10 handles there. That would have been nice. I have to start looking at that trade from that direction. I, get lulled to sleep with this data thing about going one way or the other. And I'll have to think about the code there in this particular code for a mean reversion. I don't know how I would think about that, but that is, I don't know what that percentage of probability is, but there is a number out there that people know. I guess I could Google it, about the percentage of balanced days as opposed to trend days. Well, we've got about 5 minutes. I'm going to see what the gals are up to here, and then I'm going to shut her down at the top of the hour. Really nice to see you again there, Glass Guy. And Magic, as always. I'll be back in a couple minutes here. French fry chips, you would call them. Well, I wish I had that rear view mirror clairvoyance technique down pat, because then I'd be real happy about all this. I'm going to get rid of this Asian start that's going to be pretty hard to miss with this big whoop-de-doo down here. Yeah. Ready, Tam? Ready? Fist fight. He's close. Well, I don't know whether you guys can hear that thunder and stuff, but I guess the firmaments are going to part here pretty quick. Oh, look at them dump. Well, aren't I pleased that that I didn't get along? Not really, but, you know. Nice talking to y'all, and I'm going to shut her down now and go have dinner. It's this is perfect. I feel much better than I did when I was trying to pull that long one after this, 7-hour streaming on the RTH. And I'm, a couple hours before that in the morning and stuff. So have a great night. Great wherever you are. Glass guy, get to sleep, dude. Magic, if you're still patrolling the airwaves here, thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to start doing an orb with those smaller time frames like you had mentioned to me, and I'll let you know how that filled out, how it tests out. So I'm going to call it a night, and I'll be up, remember, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time every day, every trading day. For the pre-market, set up all the software, pull the statistics here. I don't know whether you've seen that glass guy, if you're still around. I don't know if you've seen this. This is the statistics here in my book map. This is the statistics open type every day that I change. I determine it and change it. And then these are the statistics for now. The session prices have changed because we're in the ETH, but I put these are by the associated price, right? The session price. And those statistics come from here. And you can see the difference in text color from black to blue. Well, every one of these is where every one that's been changed blue is when price has revisited that level today. So there's the overnight mid was 81.9%. The overnight POC was 80.9% probability that it would be revisited. The mid, the previous POC, value area, overnight low, etc. And I put those all in, around just after 8 in the morning, before 8:30 when we open, and then they sit over here, and you can track how they work out through the day. That's how I do the probabilities. So there you go. And if you already knew that, well, now you know it twice. So I have a good one, and that's essentially. That is essentially what where the hell did it go? What I'm doing here in a minute, nobody move. On here. These are essentially a single break, but what this doesn't do is say the high or the low. So this study in IRT is more specific, but just for the day. And it's typical, here's the IB high or low. And then here are the statistics. And the way the statistical open is figured is over here. Imagine that this was, tomorrow morning, and here was price. If we open right here, how would that compare to the previous close? Well, there's the previous close, so it would be lower. How would it compare to the previous range? Well, it's within range. It's between the range. That's where this comes from. So there's higher out of range, which is gap up. Move a gap up. There's higher in range, lower in range, and lower out of range, which is a gap down. Statistically, this is not market profile open types, but this is statistic opens. And then these are the statistics, and this is recalculated by the system. It looks back at 1,822 trading days, the most recent. And of these 822 trading days, we opened lower in range 530 of those days. And of those 530 days, these are the probabilities or the percentages of time that price was revisited. And that's where these stats come from over here. There you go. And with that, I'll bid you a fond farewell. Sleep tight. Talk to you down the road. And I'm going to go eat. Have a good one. Okay. Yeah. I worked with several people with that company before with Icon Science, and there were several folks in there that were Welsh. And we would, get partying, and they'd make a fool out of me because I couldn't understand what they were saying. Stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. Ridian Williams and What the hell was his name? The COO. Yeah, there was quite a few guys. Will Slade. Yeah, a lot of them. All right. Good night. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you tomorrow or whenever I see you again. Good luck with your trading and whatever, and with your glass business. That sounds real interesting. Take care, y'all.